Hello, my name is Sarah and I am delighted to be talking to you today about Glengoyne Whisky Distillery in Scotland. So, Glengoyne Distillery is often described as Scotland's most beautiful distillery, and it's not hard to see why. We're owned by Ian MacLeod Distillers, which is an independent Scottish family-owned company. And we're really proud of the fact that we're still owned by a Scottish company, as almost 80% of distilleries in Scotland are now internationally owned. We're very proud of the fact that we still remain within Scottish hands. And we've been creating whisky there since 1833. Very little has actually changed in how we make our whisky in that time, and it's fascinating for visitors to come and see this handcrafted method of making whisky. So just to give you an idea, we are very much in the central belt of Scotland. We are 40 minutes drive north of Glasgow, about 30 minutes from Stirling and 20 to 30 minutes from Loch Lomond. And we're just over 1 hour from the capital in Edinburgh. And although we're very close to these large cities, you feel a million miles away from the hustle and bustle when you come out to Glengoyne, as we're surrounded by beautiful countryside and rolling hills. And we really are that picture postcard perfect Highland whisky distillery. And a lot of people ask us how we're classed as a Highland distillery when we're so close to Glasgow and Edinburgh, because we're clearly not in the Highlands. And that's simply because of the way that Scotland was divided into different whisky regions. So their line was drawn, and Glengoyne falls just north of that Highland line. And it's great news for visitors, as it means that they don't need to travel all the way up north to visit a traditional Highland distillery when we have one here right in the middle of the central belt in Scotland. So we're very easy to get to, very accessible. And as I mentioned, although we are very close to Glasgow and Edinburgh, we are in very beautiful countryside. And I'll show you this short video, as I think this will show you better than I can describe just how beautiful Glengoyne really is. And it will give you an idea of what your guests can experience when they come to Glengoyne. So I hope you enjoyed the film of Glengoyne and that it gave you an idea of what to expect when you come there. So to give you some more detail about the distillery and how we operate, we are open 7 days a week all year round. Groups and individuals are both very welcome, and we're very, very well set up for looking after groups at Glengoyne. We can take a maximum group size of 42 guests. And what happens is when we have a larger group like that, we will split the group into smaller groups of 14 to go around the production part of the distillery. So the group will all be welcomed as one and they'll leave as one, but it's important that you know that your guests are getting the most personal experience that they can, that they will be taken in these smaller groups so that everybody can see and hear everything that's going on. And it really does make for a better experience. The distillery is quite small, so it's really important that guests have space, and as I've mentioned, that they also get to see everything that's going on in the distillery. We offer free coach parking, and there is also public transport available. There is a bus service that runs from Glasgow City Centre that stops at the gates of Glengoyne, so that makes it really easy for anyone that doesn't have transport to get to Glengoyne to visit us. It also comes in quite handy for people that are drinking whisky. And we have very flexible opening hours for group booking. So if you would like to make your visit earlier in the morning to help with your itinerary, then that's not a problem. Or if it's easier to make it later on in the day, then equally that's not a problem. We can be very flexible and work with you on the best timings for your group. We find that quite often people perhaps would like to put the Whiskey Distillery visit at the end of the day before travelling back to hotels in Glasgow or Edinburgh. And as I say, just speak to us and we can sort that. And our guided tours are all conducted by our expert distillery ambassadors. And we go through a very rigorous training program for our guides so that they are able to talk knowledgeably about how whisky is made and answer any questions that the guests may have. But the most important thing is that your guests are entertained, that they're learning something and being entertained. And we hope that all guests leave with a smile on their face. So that brings me to our tours and tastings that we offer. So at Glengoyne, we offer a full range of different distillery visits. We're proud to offer the most comprehensive range of tours in Scotland. And this comes from trying to offer something to guests that we know they're going to enjoy. So we get a lot of requests from people that have very, very busy, packed itineraries, so they want a short visit so that guests can come and learn about whisky, taste the whisky, get some photos of our beautiful surroundings, and then carry on with their busy day. But alternatively, we have people that really want to spend a little bit longer with us and try some more whiskies. And that's why we've got this programme of different visits. So tours really can last from anything from 45 minutes up to 5 hours or even longer. And that really just comes down to how many whiskies and how much time the guests have to spend with us. And all our tours can be adapted. So if you need to keep the tour short, or you'd like to extend it, or you'd like to add some extra whiskies, or perhaps you'd like to offer some whisky and chocolate matching or something a wee bit different, then we can certainly do that for you. And we also have a fantastic whisky shop, which is full of different gifts and collectibles. And most importantly, we have a lot of distillery exclusive bottlings, which means that you can only buy them at Glengoyne. And people really like that, and they like the fact that they can buy something that you cannot get anywhere else. And we have visitors that travel from all over the world just to come to our shop to get their hands on a bottle of whisky, and it's maybe a little bit more rare. And we also offer all our tour guests a discount in the shop, so they will get a special price because they have been on a tour with us, and it's just a way of us saying thank you for coming to visit. So I mentioned that we have tours that range from 45 minutes up to 5 hours, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of a flavour as to what we can offer. So one of our most popular tours will be the Glengoyne tour and tasting. And this includes a full tour of the distillery and warehouses. So they will get to see inside the distillery, they'll get to see our lovely, beautiful copper stills and hear how we have the slowest stills in Scotland and why we are so slow at making our whisky, what that actually means and how the flavours that we capture by distilling so slowly. And then we'll also take them to our warehouses to see the beautiful oak casks and explain that process there as well. And in that top left-hand picture, you can see there's a picture of some bottles of whisky. This is our maturation area, and guests love this. They look almost like pictures, but actually, when you see them in real life, these are bottles of whiskey, and they represent 30 years of maturation. So in the top left-hand corner in each frame, you will see a bottle that's almost clear, and that is the spirit just as it's come off our copper stills before it goes into the oak cask. And we've then drawn a sample every year after that to show you what happens to the colour and flavours of our whisky. So you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner the whisky after 30 years, and you'll see how much whisky we've lost through evaporation, and also how much colour the whisky has got from being in that cask. And guests love this room because it's so visual, and it really, really shows them exactly what's going on inside that cask. And it's a great photo opportunity as well, which people absolutely love. And then to show you the other end, you have this malt master experience, which is a really in-depth visit. And this is where guests will actually assume the role of our malt master. Now, the malt master is the person in our company who creates our whiskies. So they will go into our warehouse and select lots of different casks of whisky. It's important that we taste them and try them, and they'll then mix them together to create new whiskies for us. Now, on our malt master experience, the guest assumes that role as the malt master. And instead of going in and having free range in the warehouse, we've actually given them 5 different single casks to pick, and they get to create their own whisky. So we do a tutor tasting where they taste each of the 5 whiskies, we explain the difference between them, and then they get to start mixing, and they get to create their very own whisky, which is then bottled for them to take home with a certificate in a presentation box to certify it was made at Glengoyne. Now, this is totally unique to Glengoyne. You cannot do this anywhere else. And it's just to show you the levels that we go to create these experiential visits. And this visit lasts for about 1.5 hours. Now, currently with the COVID situation, we have introduced a range of new health and safety measures. And this slide here is really just to reassure you that we are looking after our staff and visitors as best as we possibly can during these strange times. So we've introduced a lot of new measures that you'll probably be familiar with, that we, for example, are maintaining a strict 2-metre social distancing policy. We ask that visitors wear a face covering or mask at all times, except during the whisky tasting part. And we have an enhanced cleaning regime in place as well. Our staff will all be wearing protective equipment as you'd expect. And we also are serving all our whiskies in closed bottles so that guests can choose whether to take those whiskies away with them or whether they wish to pour them into a glass to drink. But it's really important that guests feel reassured at this time. We have lots of hand washing stations and hand sanitizers throughout the site as well. And the health and safety of our guests and staff really is paramount. We've also been given the We're Good to Go accreditation from Visit Scotland, and I think this just further emphasises that we're really taking this seriously and that we're following all the government guidelines as best we can. And lastly, I would just like to say thank you for letting me talk to you about Glengoyne today. If you have any questions at all, then I'd be delighted to answer them for you. And I hope that we'll be welcoming your guests to Glengoyne for a dram of whisky in the not too distant future. Thank you.